All right, so let's start with understanding why you turn into someone completely different around your family as you do around your friends or your colleagues at work. If you feel like you're killing it in these other realms and then all of a sudden you get around your family and you're just absolutely different, let's talk about why. If it's you, it's not because you're weak or you're not doing a good job healing. It really is about your body's reaction before your brain has time to consciously think about it and process. So the brain, kind of the best representation of the brain is like the hand, right? A closed fist. And it wraps around your thumb. And if you think about this as your spinal cord, and this is your midbrain, otherwise known as your reptilian brain, it's just an old ancient part of the brain that controls survival. And that's really all it's built around is surviving. So you've got this part of the brain, and then around it, all the like gooey, wormy looking parts that you see on the outside of a human brain, a picture or whatever, is your cerebral cortex. And what happens is your cerebral cortex is what gives us impulse control, language, empathy, kind of thinking through things, right? You're really your thinking brain. It's what sets humans apart from animals, is we have more of this cerebral cortex. Okay, so what happens is when your sympathetic nervous system recognizes something as danger, your top pops. And when your top pops, your midbrain is just thinking about survival. Like your resources are not being put to this part of the brain. Information is being processed in your survival brain. And that's why we react typically based on that amygdala, that central brain system that is just built for survival. So imagine this, your mom sitting there and saying like, wow, you're really gonna wear that to Easter? And within seconds, your like heart's racing, your jaw's tightening, your stomach drops, maybe your chest tightens. For me, I hold all the tension in my traps, right? And your body reacts before you decide how you actually feel about it. I'll never forget, my dad was an addict and very angry, and in our childhood he would often do things physically that were really scary for us as kids, but he thought it was really funny. Like he was a construction worker, so we'd be on the job site and he would like dangle us over like heights by our ankles and stuff, laughing. Like he thought those kinds of things were funny. And now I understand that behavior a lot differently, but I'll never forget, as an adult, we went to visit him and he had a pool and he came close to me and my entire nervous system was like, and he was joking about pushing me in the pool. And I was like, do not push me. And I immediately just clenched up, totally tightened up, and I could not relax. Like for the rest of the visit, I couldn't bring my nervous system down. And I was like, God, I'm so crazy. I haven't gotten over this shit from my childhood. But really, what was happening was a part of me recognized like, this is danger. Being around your father physically is dangerous. So this isn't a character flaw of yours. This is your nervous system doing exactly what it was trained to do. Your nervous system has one frickin' job, one, to keep you safe. And at the end of the day, we are animals. We are beings, right? Just like anybody else. And our nervous system's going to react to historically unsafe things. So when you were a kid, your brain was constantly asking, what do I need to stay emotionally safe in connection? And this is where a lot of people go wrong, is they think, oh, my dad wasn't physically abusive, or my mom wasn't physically abusive, or, we got all our needs met. Like, our parents showed up, right? However, this idea of being emotionally connected, nurtured, attended to, secure attachment is a human need. We are social beings. If you take a fish, a beta fish, they're pretty social. They need friends. And if you put them alone, they're going to be depressed and sad. Like, see, it's not just humans. We are social beings. We have to have others around us and we have to feel in connection. So when you were a kid, you're thinking, what do I need to do to stay in that connection? And even if your parents weren't physically abusive or neglectful, they definitely could have been emotionally abusive or neglectful. And maybe your brain learned, like, I should stay quiet, keeping everyone happy, right? Like, don't disagree, don't go against the grain, stay small. Your childhood brain was brilliant. It found ways to survive because you had no other option. So even if these strategies cost you later, which they absolutely have, because a lot of times our nervous system remembers these and they become our automatic responses, our default. So think about it this way. In your childhood, you learned a survival strategy to deal with whatever emotional, like criticism or neglect or whatever it might have been. You repeated that hundreds of times over years of surviving in your family system. Your brain built shortcuts because that's what the brain does, is it trims and finds efficient ways to send information through our neural pathways. So it's kind of like this, like our neurons are big long strings and it finds efficiencies. So if it's been repeated hundreds of times, the brain's building these efficiencies and shortcuts. And now in adult life, the shortcuts still activate. So anytime you're physically around, like me, for example, around my dad at the pool, that shortcut is still activated. So this is why your brain goes backwards. In psychology, we call this regression. You don't actually become 12 again. Your nervous system just recognizes, oh, this is a familiar type of danger. Like, I know what this is. I know how to react to this. And it automatically brings you into that familiar pattern of protection or defense. Defense mechanisms is what we call it in psychology. So you're not really reacting to one comment. A lot of people beat themselves up because they're like, oh, why does my mom still get under my skin? It wasn't that big of a deal. You're not reacting to that one comment. You're reacting to the years of criticism, the years of walking on eggshells, the years of trying to earn that love, right? You are reacting to a childhood. So this, what we call that is an emotional flashback. It's not because you're consciously thinking about your childhood, it's because your body remembers how childhood felt. Oops. So that feeling might go something like, I've done something wrong. They're mad at me. I need to fix this, right? Or I'm going to get in trouble. Again, a lot of this isn't happening consciously. It's happening subconsciously. But if you notice something, none of these are facts. They're old survival strategies, right? Like this idea that they're mad at me. Like as a child, that's important because it risks your emotional connection. But when you're an adult, people can be mad at you and it's okay. So healing is not about stopping being triggered. A lot of people think that. A lot of people think, I won't feel bad. That's not true. That's not how the brain works. Okay, it happened for years and years and years and years and years and years and years. It's going to take years and years and years to reprogram this nervous system. But it's about recognizing like, oh, my nervous system is reacting this way, but I'm an adult now. So I have to retrain it to react this way. Okay, so you have to ask yourself, what's true right now? Instead of, hey, my dad was physically dangerous to me when I was a kid. He would play jokes in a way that would put me at physical danger or whatever, the critical comment that risks disconnection, maybe making your mom mad would cause her to give you the silent treatment for 3 days. Like that to a child is dangerous. So childhood thought, if mom was upset, I'm in danger, right? Because I'm at risk of her giving me the silent treatment for 3 days. But the adult reality is, okay, mom's upset. That doesn't mean I'm unsafe. I have emotional connection in other relationships in my life. I have to be okay with mom being upset. It's not a risk to me now like it used to be in my childhood. Another example is if dad's angry, I should stay quiet. But the adult reality is dad's allowed to be angry and I'm allowed to have boundaries and say how I feel. So this is why healing feels so freaking hard and why so many people get stuck in therapy is because a lot of therapists focus on the automatic thoughts. They focus on cognitive behavioral therapy. They focus on validating your experience, but they don't connect the dots. It's not just changing thoughts that you're working on, you're updating your nervous system. And it spent years trying to protect you. So we are literally talking about parts of you. Parts of you were created, protector parts. There's the inner wounded child that still is sad that you had disconnection from these people for a long time, right? So you're not just changing your thoughts, you're updating your nervous system, you're reconnecting to these different parts of you. You're maybe taking protector parts and having them sit in the back seat because it's no longer serving you to be like the pissed off teenager, right? We're going to talk about all of this in this course. But here's the beautiful part, y'all. Your brain can absolutely learn new things. The brain is malleable, it's adaptable, it's possible to create new neuro connections. Think about this. People who have strokes can learn again, even though that part of their brain is damaged. Other parts of the brain can compensate for the damaged parts of the brain. That's amazing. The human body and the human brain is amazing. Your brain can learn something new, and safety can be relearned one experience at a time if you do this the right way. So you don't need to hate the part of you that still reacts around your family. That's a protector part. She or he served you for a very long time. And we can thank that part and teach it. I've got this now, right? Like, sit in the back of the bus. I got this. We're going to talk about how to do that. So the first part I want you to do is hop over to that worksheet area. In this module, there's a worksheet that comes with each one of these modules, and I want you to either look through it and think this out loud or print it out, write it out. That can be really powerful too, but the worksheet that goes along with this is going to help you identify who do you feel unsafe around, what do they trigger, what are you wanting, and what's true now. And that's really going to help take this from insight to action, which I think is the most important thing. All right, see you on the next one.